Hi, this is Margo. This is Friday, June the 7th, 2019, 6:56 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. We're going to briefly look at methane. We have new data. We've been getting new data every day, and I've been putting detailed methane data updates on in video format for my members on Subscribestar, and I've been doing that every day they come out and every time it comes out. And so, if you're wanting the updated methane as soon as it comes out, you can certainly join us over there. And it's a detailed report. This is just going to be a brief report just showing the North Pole view from Thursday, which is yesterday, May the 6th, and surface level because it has to do with what else we're going to be seeing tonight. I'm going to we're going to look at things on Climate Reanalyzer, go around the world and just check that out on Climate Reanalyzer, and then briefly look at sea ice on NASA Worldview. And so I have the movie loaded up, so here's where it ended for Wednesday, with lots of methane coming up over Norway and Sweden and Finland. Also, we're seeing a continuous releasing here in the Kara Sea, also here in Siberia. Here's India, here's Saudi Arabia, here's China, and here's the United States, here Canada, Greenland. Now when you see the different shades of green, the lighter green is higher methane release. So you will be seeing the different shades of green move through the Arctic, and we're seeing more methane release coming up from Alaska now, and it's because it's warming up and they have a lot of permafrost that's melting. They also have a lot of earthquakes and volcanoes there. So just moving around, here's a volcano, probably Chevelluge on the Kamchatka Peninsula, that's going off, causing that. Here's Japan, here's North and South Korea, here's China. Now here we have Russia, and this is Siberia, and we're seeing more pockets of methane starting to come up across Siberia. Now here's Novaya Zemlya, and so here's the Kara Sea, where it keeps building and releasing. It's a continuous thing there, even in the winter time. So here's India, then here's Saudi Arabia, and then pockets popping up on the most densely populated areas. And then, of course, the United States is not looking good because of all the areas that have flooded. And we're seeing this green wave move into the ocean. Remember, this is surface level, so we're seeing pretty much the whole northern hemisphere is covered in green as a background color, and a little bit of blue, but mainly green. And so we're looking at around 1960 to about 2,000 parts per billion as our background color, and then it goes up from there. So the data is from yesterday, Thursday, June the 6th, and then it runs a forecast for 4 more days. So the forecast runs through Monday. Okay, we'll leave this now. And the next thing I want to show you is Climate Reanalyzer. Hold on. I want to get my backdrop here. Here we go. We're going to look at earthquakes too, so this might be a little bit of a long report tonight. So here's Climate Reanalyzer from today, June the 7th, and here's the temperatures around the world. Here's the maximum. So we're seeing the green over the Arctic, which is above freezing, because this pale aqua, like this color, that's about freezing, that's about 0. But once you start getting into the greens, it's going up above freezing. And there have been reports on this that the air above the Arctic is above freezing, and so this sea ice is going to be melting very quickly for lots of different reasons. So we can see the temperatures are rising at different parts of the United States. Here's the flat map of the Earth, or the globe. We can see very high temperatures already across Alaska. Not Alaska. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Africa, Saudi Arabia, India. Those white colors are down here, up into the pushing the high 40 degrees Celsius. So that's really, really hot. And it's just beginning summertime, but of course the equator runs right along through those areas. Now if we look at 2-meter temperature anomaly, we're seeing brown over the North Pole, over Alaska, over this area of Siberia, and also near this East Siberia ice shelf right here on land. It's in the red zone. Also Norway and Sweden and Finland are in the brown. So here it is on the global view, the flat view. And the Antarctic is also showing a lot warmer than normal here on this western peninsula. Of course, if we go to NASA World View, we can't see any of that right now because it's dark down there. And it's supposed to be refreezing. But with it that much warmer than normal, the ice will have a hard time refreezing down there. So we see these are areas where we saw high methane releases. And so there's the 2-meter temperature anomaly. Here's the precipitation and clouds. Now the green is rain. So we can see this huge band that's covering about half the United States. It's been there for days, and it literally has not really moved from this area, and that's why they just keep getting rain, because it's not moving and it's flooding. It's awful what's happening. And we're seeing rain up here in the Baffin Bay next to Greenland. We're seeing rain up here by Novaya Zemlya. We're seeing rain up here in the Chukchi Sea. And we're seeing, now this blue is a little bit of snow that's coming down, but not much in the Arctic. So there's that. Now let's look at the jet stream. Here it's all loopy-loop, and then it breaks out. Here's another loop that breaks down and goes way south to the southern border of the United States, of Texas and Louisiana and so forth, and then it loops up and down, and it looks like a snake going around. And then the southern jet stream is doing some crazy stuff too. So that's not helping matters any. And now here's the sea ice and snow cover in the Arctic. We can see it in the Arctic here, how much it's retreating. And we can click around, and here's what the sea ice is doing in the Antarctic. Not sure how thick it is. Probably not very thick yet. And sea surface temperature. So the white is freezing, and once it gets up into the, like this purple, that's like 5 degrees Celsius. So we can see that the water coming up next to this Arctic sea ice is definitely above freezing. So that's going to be warming up that sea ice as well. Look how warm the water is down here. That's like 30 degrees Celsius. This warm band goes all the way across. And then here's sea surface temperature anomaly. And so we can see, like here in the Bering Strait, it's in the red and brown zone, so it's warmer than it normally would be, all the way coming up through and the coast of Alaska, and here off the east coast of North America, and look down here in the Gulf of Mexico. All your inland water is higher than normal. Look at this over here off the coast of Japan. It's incredible to really, look at that. The whole Pacific is brown, looks like, or the majority of it. Now here is off the coast of South America, red and brown. Then here's New Zealand. Here's Tasmania, and this is the Tasman Sea. Here's Australia. So there's a little bit of blue down here because it's in their winter time. They are getting some snow. But this, look at around New Zealand, the sea surface temperature is in brown there. So there's that. And now I have the Arctic pulled up for NASA World View for today, June the 7th. I just thought we'd take a quick tour of the sea ice. See what it looks like. It's always interesting to see. Let's start down here on Greenland. Now this whole west side, it looks like, has melted, and it's also melted on the land, and their glaciers are melting very quickly. Now here it is up on the northeast edge. We might have a little bit of cloud cover. Let's see. We can click on the ice surface temperature, and wherever color shows up, that's where there are no clouds. So we've got clouds right here. No clouds over here. So it's already breaking up. We can see it breaking up here. Now here, look at that. That has really melted a lot. This is the Beaufort Sea. Huge, huge ice-free area here. And look how this is already so broken up. And we're seeing brown and green coming out in the water, streaming out. This is from the water, from the rivers flowing out with the mud and the sediment and algae and things like that. Here's Barrow. Here's Wainwright right over here somewhere. So we can see the Bering Strait is completely ice-free. There's no ice. These are clouds here. There's no ice here. None whatsoever. The coastline of Alaska, most of it is pretty ice-free. Here's just a little tiny remnant along the edge here. But you can see all the way up to the coastline. Right there. And then this is the Chukchi Sea. Here's some ice. Here's some edge of the ice. And then here's Siberia. So here's where it's already melted. Coming across. Now we're looking through some clouds here. It's already broken up here. But this is the East Siberia ice shelf right along in here. This area. Where that huge methane store is under the water. Down in the sediment, it's the clathrates. So we can see the ice has already cracked and going to be melting quickly. This is melted through here, melted through here. Here's Novaya Zemlya. These are clouds. And let's see if we can get a better view with fewer clouds or no clouds. It's cloudy a lot up here. But from what I can make out, it looks like this western side is ice-free, and this eastern side, this is some ice. It's quite thin. We can see it's broken up, but look, this big area where there's no ice. And this is where the methane keeps coming up. Here's the Yamal Peninsula. Let's see, over here is Norilsk. That's starting to melt, so we can start to see what's down there a little bit. It's where we were seeing the huge sulfur dioxide releases, this area. Then coming on down. This is, I can't tell if that's cloud. I think that's clouds. Let's see. Yeah, these are clouds. So this is no ice. Here's Svalbard. And here's the east side of Greenland. So, uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. Get things lined up again. So there's sea ice as of here it is on June the 7th. Here's the North Pole. And we can see it's already cracking way inside this 80-degree north latitude circle. That's this circle here. So we'll be checking on this more frequently as things start melting more and more. Now let's move on into our earthquake report. We've had some interesting things happen the last 24 hours or so. So on USGS we're showing 349 earthquakes, all magnitudes, in the last 24 hours. Of those, 29 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. But look at this picture. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 earthquakes that are not part of U.S. territory, that do not take place in U.S. territory. So that's kind of unbalanced, but it is the way it is. So let's see what's about to come off the map. This 2.6 at Mentone, Texas came in at 7:27 last night. 3.3 at Kodiak, Alaska at 7:50. And a 2.5 at Ruby, Alaska at 8:26. So those are about to come off the map. So let's start right down here. A 5.0 on the southeast Indian Ridge. This came in at 4:36 this afternoon. So this is right on the red line for the Antarctic plate. This is the Antarctic here. So it was between Australia and the Antarctic. And all of these times are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. Then here's one off the southern tip of Kamchatka in Russia in the ocean at 4.7 that came in at 4:29 this morning. And then on land, here's a 4.6 at Aksu, China at 2:47 this afternoon. Here's one in the middle of the Caspian Sea of 4.6 that happened at 10:27 last night. So that's all of those of the international quakes, which is shocking to see so few, with 300 and some odd, 348. So let's dig in. Let's start with Hawaii with all magnitudes. We've got 7 here today. I'll call them off. 1.8, Pahala 1.8, Kilauea 1.8 Kilauea, 1.7 Kilauea, 1.2 Mauna Loa, 2.0 Kilauea, and 1.7 Leilani Estates. And a lot of these are at negative depth, meaning the epicenter of the earthquake is up in the hill or the volcano or the mountain, so it's showing movement up inside there, primarily magma that's causing it to make an earthquake up there. So it's a lot of movement there. Next, over here at the Caribbean, this has calmed down a bit. There's 9 here today. I'll call them off. 2.9, 2.1, 1.7, 1.9, 2.6, 2.6, 1.9, 2.8, and 2.6. So all of those are in the ocean around Puerto Rico. So still showing a lot of movement there. Now in Alaska, we've got 94 here today, and of those we've got 11 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So that is definitely an uptick in the higher magnitude, in the number of higher magnitudes. So let's start with these, just calling them off. 3.3 at Kodiak, 2.5 Ruby, 3.2 Circle, 2.6 Kobuk, 4.8 Kodiak, 3.9 Kodiak, 3.2 Koktovik, 3.1 Cantwell, 3.1 Cantwell, 2.5 Kodiak, and 2.6 Big Lake. And that's at Anchorage. We saw a lot of methane coming up here, and on sulfur dioxide it's coming up right along here too. So here's some little ones in the Aleutian Islands. We've got 3 right there, the Tanaga volcano and Adak. And here they are coming in the Cook Inlet. Here's Anchorage. So here's these little ones, all these little ones, that each one of them shows a weak point in the crust, and that's why the earthquake is happening when the pressure moves and builds up. The magma is moving. 1.3. See, these are like in the ones range. Here's a 1.0 and so forth. But the little ones add up and can lead to larger earthquakes. So that's what we're seeing. Then we're seeing some larger ones as well, mixed in with the little ones, like this 3.3 and 3.1 at Cantwell. So here's Kobuk. We've got 19, including this little cluster at Ruby. Ruby is not far from Kobuk. That's a mining area too. And then up here at the north end, we've got Koktovik. And then Circle, 2 at Circle, and so on. Then we've got some in the little armpit here. So there's Alaska. So it was busy. Now let's move into the lower 48. Oklahoma saw 13 earthquakes here today. We've been talking about Oklahoma and why there are more earthquakes over here now with the fracking and with the flooding. 2.5 at Cherokee, that was the largest one. So there's 13. So 1.7, 1.6, 2.5, 1.9, 1.8, 1.2, 1.9, 1.9, 1.7, 2.3, 2.4, 1.8, 1.8. They're getting bigger. They're up in the 2s range now. So there's that. Let's come on over. We've got one in Utah at Morgan, 1.1. Now let's check out Yellowstone. It looks like 9 here today. Here's our quarry blast. Oh, back at Butte, a 1.7 magnitude quarry blast at 12:20. Normally we see them at 12:03. That was at 12:20 today. So I'll call these off. 0.7 Polson, 1.7 Chalice, 0.4 West Yellowstone, 1.7 Chalice, 1.0 Lincoln, 1.6 Lincoln, 2.2 Lima, and 1.0 Polson. So that's still moving. Now in the Pacific Northwest, we've got 6 here today. Mount Rainier, another volcano. It's got two earthquakes right at there. Here's an earthquake at Seattle. Let's look at the tremor map for June the 6th. It's showing 48 here. The last for June the 6th, and they're all up here on Vancouver Island. So there's that. So let's start up here. Here's a 0.7 at Rockport, 1.4 at Seattle. This happened at 7:41 this morning. 1.2 in Teot. Here's Mount Rainier. Here's a 1.0 Eatonville and a 1.3 Eatonville. So this was at the base of the volcano there. And then here's a 1.2 Kalama. So there's that. Now coming on down into Northern California and Nevada, we've had some interesting things go on here. First of all, they've been taking earthquakes off before the 24-hour time period. I showed that yesterday, where there was one up here that they had taken off. So what I'm doing is I'm taking pictures of the earthquakes as in Northern California when they come in. So we saw this one at Redding. We saw that one. That was on the map in my report last night. But this one is 2.0 at Red Bluff, or 14 kilometers east-northeast of Red Bluff, that came in. Here it is at 8:57 last night. That should still be on the map, but it's gone. They've taken it off. And here's a close-up of it. It was a 1.5. Oh no, here's another one. This is at Gerber. This happened this morning at what time? 8:44 this morning, and it was at a minus 0.6 kilometer depth, so we know what that means. So this is south of Red Bluff. The other one was north of Red Bluff, so this one is south of Red Bluff. This is at Gerber at 8:44 this morning. That's not on the map now. It should still be there. And there's the Gerber one, a screenshot of this whole area with 2 from the geysers, and here's this 1.5 at Gerber at 8:44, and then a couple more. But look at all these over here by Reno. So there are 2. There were 2 right up here, and these are not that far from Chico and the Oroville Dam and Lake Almanor and all of that. So I just thought I'd share that with everyone. And see, this is a different earthquake. This is Red Bluff, 2.0 Red Bluff at 8:47 last night. And this looks at almost at the same place. And this is the 1.5 at Gerber at 8:44 this morning. So both of those should still be on the map, but they're not. See? Totally not anything. Should be 2 right in here. But what we are seeing of high interest is 2 earthquakes at Lake Almanor. This first one, or it's the second one, but it's in the middle of the lake, and Lake Almanor is full, and there's a dam right down here, Canyon Dam. 1.4 that came in at 3:25 this afternoon, 7 kilometers deep. And then here's one, it looks like it's on this little peninsula that's coming down. This is a 1.5 that came in at 11:09 this morning, 8.1 kilometers deep. So there is activity going on around these reservoirs and lakes and dams, and it's not comforting, frankly. It's not comforting at all. And then here's 1.1 at Truckee. Now we'll continue with Reno in a second. Oh, and by the way, let's see if nope, Oroville Dam side is down right now. This is the latest reading I got. It was at 10 o'clock this morning. This has been up all day and I've not refreshed it. It was at 894.10 feet. It's been going down slowly a little bit because they increased the release at the Hyatt power plant, but then the inflow had been holding around 10,500 or thereabouts, or a little under, and then it went down to 8574, Then it started going back up, 94.65, and then at 9 o'clock it was 94.57, and at 10 o'clock this morning it was 10,265. So that's the last reading I have on the Oroville lake level. Now, here in the Reno area, here's Reno. We had one right in the middle of Pyramid Lake, 0.7 at 3:18 this afternoon. See, right in the center of the upper end. And then south of Reno, these are in the Mount Rose area. And this is Virginia City. So counting the Mount Rose area and for the Virginia City one, there have been 23 in the last 24 hours. And we've had some pretty good sized ones. The largest one we had was this 3.7. They called it at Virginia City. That came in at 9:49 last night. But I saw it when it came on the map. I was online looking at earthquakes, and it showed up over here in the Mount Rose area. And then I looked a few hours later, and they'd moved it. It was no longer at the Mount Rose area. They'd moved it over to Virginia City. So go figure. I have no clue what they're doing. I have no clue. But we're definitely seeing some swarming or clustering going on. And these over here, they're calling them near Incline Village, because that's the town right down here on the northern border of Lake Tahoe. This is in the middle of the mountains, and people don't live. If they live up there, there's not many up there. This is like hiking area. This is Mount Rose Peak, and then this is all hiking area. This is part of the forest, so people don't live up here. So let's see. What of those are 2.5 magnitude or higher? Okay, here's the 3.7 at Virginia City. And then we've got 2.8, and that one happened at 8:51 last night at a minus 2.1 kilometer depth, so that was up in the mountain. And a 2.6 at 8:43, and that was at a minus 2 kilometer depth, so up in the mountain as well. So, you know, we might be revving up for an earthquake here. I don't know. I mean, a large one. There are plenty of fault lines that go through. It could happen. Okay, let's go on down to southern Nevada. Here's these at Hawthorne. There's showing 3 at Hawthorne today, small ones. And then southern Nevada is not very many, only showing 6 today. And The largest is this 1.3 and 1.1 at Alamo. Now let's come down this east side of California. Mammoth Lakes area, we've got 14 here today. These are ones and under. Here in the Coso Junction area, we've got 5 here today. These are mainly in the ones range. Now coming into Southern California, okay, we got 2 in Baja, 3.3 near Maniadero, and a 2.1 near Ensenada. And it calmed down out here off this little San Clemente Island where we saw those the last couple of days. So in Southern California, we've got 112 here today. So that's a good number. I mean, that's a pretty high number. So here at Glen, Avon, we've got 86. So they win for the number of earthquakes in one place so far, from what I see. And these, there are 4 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Here's our 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, and 2.5, all at Glen, Avon. So they're getting bigger, and then the rest of them are ones and under, mainly in the ones range. So let's come up the San Andreas fault line. Here's a 1.7 Pine Mountain Club, 0.9 Kalami, 1.4 Parkfield. Here's a 0.5 Parkfield. Here's a 1.7 San Simeon, 2.1 Pinnacles, 2.1 Ridgemark, 0.8 Orinda, and then at the geysers here, we've got 28 here today. So that number is going down back to the more average range of what they normally have. So I think that's a wrap for the earthquakes. Hey, this one was not on the map. Was it? No. No, it was? No, Caspian Sea. Okay, never mind. Having a brain fart. We just had this 2.6 at Big Lake. That was at 7:19. So I think that's a wrap. So I'll go ahead and sign off and hope everyone is safe and getting your spiritual house in order, because I don't think much time is left. Not when you see over 300 earthquakes over here in the U.S. It's not a good sign. So anyway, until next time, God bless everyone, and I'll talk to you soon. Go in peace. Good night.